This episode of the SloopCast is brought to you by the Mad Canadian Barbecue Company. Mad Canadian Barbecue Company is an Ohio-based company where they usually say, our seasoning will take your barbecue from good to great. Great seasonings such as the Cajun, the smoked savory two-border, and the Discord. Can't go wrong with any of the seasonings. That is over at the madcanadianbbq.com. That is the madcanadianbbq.com. Be sure to use the promo code SloopCast10 at checkout for 10% off your entire order. Don't forget to check out the Mad Canadian social media sites to figure out where he's heading this weekend. Mad Canadian Barbecue Company, where they have your butt covered.
This episode of the SloopCast also brought to you by the Iron Bean Coffee Company. Kyle, the Iron Bean Coffee Company. Now, we are recording this on Veterans Day. I would like to point that out. I know most people aren't going to listen until 2 days later. We are recording this on Veterans Day, and I would like to point out the Iron Bean Coffee Company is, in fact, a veteran-owned coffee roaster. They're also a small batch, made-to-order roaster. They don't roast to order, would actually be the correct term. They don't actually roast your beans until you order them. That way, you're always getting fresh roast. If you're getting your beans freshly ground by them, then they're freshly ground. If you've never freshly ground your own coffee, it's much better. But if that's not necessarily a thing you want to deal with, you can get it ground from them, and you know it's freshly ground because you know it wasn't even roasted until you ordered it. They have an amazing selection of coffees. They do have a bunch of dark roast, medium roast, a couple light roast, a few flavored coffees. The flavored coffees includes a carrot cake, a blueberry, and a mint chocolate chip flavored coffee. But if you're not a flavored coffee person, I could recommend maybe the cast iron, or I have right here a bag of Ride or Die for my YouTube watchers. That's tumbled with cocoa nibs and vanilla beans. Hell yeah, is what it says on that bag. So you can find that coffee. You can find a bunch of other coffees and free shipping on orders over $50 at ironbeancoffee.com. That's Iron Bean Coffee, America's local coffee roaster.
How's it going, YouTube?
YouTube, what's up? So, yeah, it's, what's everyone doing on Saturday? We warned you.
Yeah.
Warned you.
There's a chance it could happen.
Yeah, it sucks. We still got plenty to talk about today, so we're here for you. So don't worry too much about that. But let's go ahead, Kyle, and rejoin our audio listeners. We've got barbecue back here. You're all invited. Welcome to the SloopCast. How are you doing today, Kyle?
All right, Jared. All right.
Isn't that my line?
How are you doing?
Aren't I supposed to be the one that comes in? Well, I guess I'm doing okay. I'm fine, I guess. You're okay over here. I guess I'm doing okay. I'm fine. Isn't that my role? Stop stealing my bit, Kyle.
All right. Well, let's just jump right into it, I guess.
This is normally what we say. We got a ton to talk about today.
Yeah. Well, let's.
No, surprise bye week, guys. It's just surprise bye week. We had warned you. We had warned you many times during the course of the first few games and in the lead up to this delayed season that there was a pretty slim chance that Ohio State was going to end up playing all of these games. We told you that Ohio State did in fact have a bye week, that we just didn't know which week it was.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
now we know.
And we're talking about the Ohio State Maryland game being canceled. And
yeah.
even before it all started, we're like, our concerns was the teams on the East Coast there.
Yeah.
Maryland and Rutgers. Got Rutgers out of the way.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Maryland was just an unfortunate timing right now.
Well, you know what, Kyle? Can I disagree with you on that? I think it's great timing.
Okay.
Because Ohio State could have traveled to Maryland and found out that there was an outbreak on the Maryland squad. Worse, there could have been an outbreak on the Maryland squad when they came in for testing on Monday, and the entire Ohio State team could have been also exposed and been a part of this outbreak.
Yeah.
So does it suck Ohio State is not playing a game this weekend? Absolutely. This is an Ohio State podcast. Look at the colors of the graphics on the screen. Look at the logo. Of course, we wanted an Ohio State game this weekend. Of course. But it could have been worse. It is Maryland's issue. It's not Ohio State's issue. And with all, I don't mean to belittle the fact that Maryland is having problems. That's not my intent. But again, this is an Ohio State podcast, and it sucks. I think this would have been a great test for Ohio State. Tua's little brother had been doing really well the past 2 games after a rough start. I would venture to say that he is probably by far the best quarterback Ohio State would have played to this point in the season. And with Ohio State having some issues in the secondary, I was looking forward to this game. Mm-hmm. And while I don't real life gamble, betting the over. I don't know if Ohio State would have covered or not, but
yeah, I asked a few people in our Discord. Excuse me. Asked a few of our listeners in the Discord how they feel about this game before it ultimately got canceled.
And also, I just want to say, this news is very fresh for Kyle and I.
This is
like 2 days old for most of the people watching and or listening to this. This is only a couple hours old for us.
I saw Tony and Gerdeman and Tom Moore. They're like, well, we just recorded and
oops. Poof, gone.
Yeah. So I asked our listeners, hey, how do you feel about today or this weekend's game against Maryland? Do you feel confident with 1 or not so good at a 10? And seemed to be more, I'd say on average about 5, I think for people.
Was it that high?
Yeah, there were some that they were like 3, but there was quite a few 6, 7, and even an 8 in there. So I'd say it was around 5.
Okay.
Was the level of concern from listeners who responded.
Yeah, and I think there was a cause for concern with this game, not from a Ohio State would lose standpoint, although that is always a possibility. That is, Purdue and Iowa and so on and so forth. Always a possibility. But it was a game that could have made Ohio State look very bad. Again, the strength of Maryland being their passing game, the weakness of Ohio State being their passing defense. And again, I'd like to point out that the weakness of most of the really good teams right now are their passing defenses. It's not isolated to Ohio State.
Everybody, maybe they just forgot about the Alabama game where they let up so many yards.
Yeah. Speaking of Bama versus LSU canceled. Texas A&M at Tennessee canceled. Well, some of these are postponed and some of them are canceled. Whatever. Georgia versus Missouri canceled. Auburn versus Mississippi State canceled. 4 SEC games. There was, I think the Air Force game got canceled. The Navy, or was it Army game got canceled. I think there's something like
the other games that got canceled was Memphis and Navy, Air Force and Wyoming, and UL Monroe and Arkansas State.
And it's
all of them except for the Air Force Wyoming and the Ohio State Maryland are postponed, but
for now,
come on.
Well, who knows? Honestly, who knows? Because we might have the college football playoff maybe actually do the right thing.
Yes.
And delay the season a bit.
That's the big talk right now, whether it happens or not. That's the thing that a lot of people are really hoping happens, and hope that the committee looks it over and be like, let's push it back maybe a month.
I don't think the committee gets that say. I would say the people who put together the committee get that say. I don't know if
yes.
but the larger college football playoff, which is really just the BCS under a new name, it's the same people running it. So that the BCS people just push it all back a month. That's it. It's just, you already play in domes. You're already not selling tickets. You're probably still not going to have actual attendance at the game. Push it back a month.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Let everyone get some games under their belt. You're going to put the committee in a place where they're, comparing a 6-win team versus a 9 or 10-win team. Or maybe not wins, but games played. And how's that fair for anybody?
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real for a second. Again, I wanted Ohio State to play this weekend. It's a great thing that they didn't. Because even if Ohio State was going to win this game 19 times out of 20, that 20th game still exists. Quite frankly, it's a good thing, because if Ohio State's undefeated, even if that's 6-0, and God forbid that many Ohio State games get canceled, but even if it's 6-0, Ohio State's going to go to the playoffs. They're clearly one of the best teams in the country.
And they've proved it so far this year. I mean, is there issues? Yeah. But you know what? Yeah. It's not as many issues as what we've seen other teams that's beyond the top 5, 6.
And again, Clemson has actually lost. Bama has their flaws as well. And
we've seen that, and we've seen Notre Dame's flaws as well.
No one's as good, right? No one is as good right now as the top 3 or 4 teams were last year.
Yes, absolutely.
And you can blame
this whole like
practice,
delay,
the
whole delaying, late practice and everything else that went on for
the start and the stop nature
it is this year.
Yeah.
People just aren't. It's just not as crisp and clean of performance as what we've seen in the past.
Which is why Team Chaos has been so dominant this year. Mm-hmm. All of this chaos has moved everyone towards the center. It's like everyone's playing in bad weather. Bad weather neutralizes talent. All of this thing that is 2020 has neutralized talent a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So as few games as Ohio State plays, the better, because it just increases the chance of a Iowa-Purdue type thing happening. And again, we were always aware, and by we, I mean me, Kyle, and probably most of the people listening to this, we're all aware that Ohio State was not going to play all of these games. They just weren't. And
we'll still be upset. We'll still be pissed that it's not happening, but
it could be worse. I'm just taking the silver lining on this. It could be worse. It could be Ohio State dealing with the outbreak. It could be Maryland dealing with the outbreak after they played Ohio State, and then we're all sitting around worried that it could have got a bunch of the Ohio State players as well. But that's not what happened.
Yeah, I'm curious about with so many, with the outbreak that's going on with Maryland, who do they play the following week? So they play Sparty.
Oh, and God forbid we lose that game. But yeah, it's just, this is 2020. This is what we live under right now. And there are bigger tragedies in the world, and Ohio State will be fine. I think it's basically what it boils down to. And it sucks. Of course it sucks. I'm not trying to tell you it's no big deal and to get over it and blah, blah, blah. No, I'm not doing that to you. I'm just saying it could be worse. It could have, it could have been an isolated incident that took out some key Ohio State players to the point where they then would have to go. I mean, Trevor Lawrence. I look at the Steelers right now. Steelers are undefeated in the NFL. And this week they put Ben Roethlisberger on the COVID list. You think Steeler fans are happy to see Mason Rudolph's face again? I promise you they aren't. Oh boy. All right, Kyle. Yeah, so a bunch of games canceled for this weekend in a slate of games that I will go ahead and say was not all that great to begin with. This was always going to be a light week. And I'm just, maybe if you got some maybe you got to winterize, maybe you got to go do some yard work. This is a great weekend just to skip.
There are absolutely no games.
Don't you dare say it. Don't you acknowledge the rankings. Okay, I tell you what, I'll give you one. I'll give you one if you give me one. I'm going to acknowledge the rankings real quick, and I'm going to say this because it fits the narrative I want to tell, so it's convenient for me. It fits the narrative I want to tell that we need to push back the playoffs. Of the top 5 teams, which include Bama, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Clemson, and Texas A&M, 3 of those teams, Ohio State, Bama, Texas A&M, aren't playing this weekend due to COVID issues. Push back the playoff. Oh, it'll overlap with the NFL playoffs. You're not going to watch a playoff game while we're probably still under lockdown anyway on a Tuesday night, on a Monday night. You're not going to watch a college football playoff game on a Thursday night. I don't care about the NFL playoffs. Let the NFL playoffs be the NFL playoffs. We're not talking about doing a full slate of games. We're talking about 3 games. Wait, what are we talking about? We don't have to go up against the NFL playoffs. There's lots of days in the week. It's fine.
There's 7, in fact.
Can you look that up? Can we get confirmation on that? By the way, Ohio State's not playing Alabama. Can we stop that? I get okay. If you're doing it for
they are not. They're not playing. They didn't even talk.
If you're doing
any talk.
If you're doing it for the memes, if you're doing it for the jokes, if you're doing it for the lulz, all right, that's fine. Go have your fun. 0 chance. Not only that it's happening, because it's not happening. 0 chance that anyone wanted it to happen. Anyone with any actual decision-making power. Do you really think Ohio State and Alabama are going to decide to play each other at a venue they haven't picked yet? At a venue they haven't picked yet. With who's going to air it? Is CBS going to air it? Is Fox going to air it? Is ESPN going to air it? Who's going to air it? You got to figure out your TV deal. You got to figure out you got to figure out what stadium you're playing it in. And oh, by the way, you give some of the most control-hungry creatures on this planet, which are college football coaches, give them 72 hours to prepare for the biggest game of the season? Are you high? Do you think anyone wanted that? Again, now if you're doing it for the jokes, go for it. I'm all for the jokes, I'm all for the memes. Have fun. But no chance that was ever going to happen. No one wanted that. The ADs didn't want it. The school presidents didn't want it. The TV networks would have taken it, but which one would get it? They'd have fought over it. That causes issues. Where are you playing it? The coaches didn't want it. The players probably don't care, but you're going to give up a potential seat in the playoff to play a game on 72-hour notice? Please, guys, come on. Grow up.
Yep.
Again, unless you're doing it for the jokes, in which case, have fun.
All right, let's go ahead and get into it then, Jared.
What are we getting into? SlooPicks?
Yep, let's get into the SlooPicks.
All right, let's do it. Our guest picker this week is Cousin Jay. I just gave him that nickname. I was gonna say his name, then I was like, oh, I don't know if we ever asked him. Can we say your last name on the podcast? So we're just gonna go with Cousin Jay. Kyle's cousin.
Yes.
That's where that comes from. Is he the current leader in the SlooPicks and the online SlooPicks?
I'm pretty sure I have it up right here because I did not do my picks right before we recorded.
No, of course not. Who would do that?
Let's see. Standings overall. Yep. Jay is up by 3.
3 games. All right. So, quick caveat to the SlooPicks. When I sent the email to Jay, we kind of already knew that a bunch of those SEC games were on the chopping block, so I didn't include any of those because there was a lot of the Ohio State game came out of nowhere. It was just surprise, no week. So we obviously had that game on the schedule, but I did do a last second substitution. I took out Ohio State and Maryland, and I put in Iowa and Minnesota. And then for the tiebreaker this week, I made that Wisconsin and Michigan. So our total score tiebreaker is Wisconsin at Michigan. I sent those updates to Jay. Again, this is all the cancellation of the game, all of that is still very fresh for Kyle and I. And I sent that email to Jay. I knew when I sent it to him that I might not hear back from him in time. And let me hit refresh on my email. Hitting refresh on my email. And oh boy, that's right. Google's having issues. Also, YouTube's down for us right now too in our version of reality. So it looks like all the Google stuff is having some issues. Now I've not received an update from Cousin Jay, but he still is going to set the new game on the SlooPicks website, and he can set the total score on the SlooPicks website. So we can't tell you guys what he picked for that, but know that we're still taking care of that stuff behind the scenes.
Yep. All right. So we'll go ahead and cover that game first. The Iowa versus Minnesota game, which is a Friday night game at 7:00 on Fox Sports 1. I see here that Iowa is a 3.5 point favorite. And again, we don't have Jay's picks here, but we'll go ahead and pick them here. I think this is a really even matched here. I know Minnesota's had a lot of issues, especially in the kicking game. Ohio State wouldn't know of anything like that. But
no.
I'll take Minnesota. I mean, you're handicapping Minnesota by 3.5. I think this is a pretty even match here. And even we think Minnesota is overall just a better team from what I know Minnesota could be here. So you're handicapping Minnesota here. I'll take them. I'll take them here.
All right. So I'm taking Iowa, and here's why. Minnesota has one win, and it's against Illinois. We only really know two things about the Big Ten right now. Ohio State's good, Illinois is bad. That's it. That's really all we know for rock solid shore right now. And Minnesota's one win is against Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
No, there's no but. Also, they lost, but there's an also. Also, they lost to Michigan, and they lost to Michigan handedly. And we now know Michigan's pretty terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with Iowa.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. Next up here, we have our second favorite Ohio school. Maybe. We have also a Friday night game, a pair of doubleheaders here. East Carolina and the Fighting Fickles of Cincinnati. Cincinnati is a 27.5 point favorite. And Jared?
Yeah.
It needs to be higher. I'll take the Fighting Fickles here. I just know East Carolina is just not a good football team.
It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad for the Pirates right now. Yeah, Cincinnati's last win, 28 points. Previous to that, 39 points. Previous to that, against a pretty good SMU team, pretty good, 29 points. They're winning these games by, again, they covered this number against a much better SMU team. They covered this number against a much better Memphis team. Houston's also not very good, so they're probably maybe still better, but regardless, gonna go Cincinnati. They've been winning these games against these teams by these many points. Eventually they'll stumble. Eventually they'll have a bad game, and that's fine. But I'm not going to take the bet on the eventual. I'm going to go with the trend, and that trend is with Cincinnati.
All right. Let's see what Jay says. Jay says here he picks Cincinnati. Ride with them until they prove otherwise.
See?
I know nothing about the Pirates from ECU and don't really care to. Riding with Coach Fickle, whom I could see going to Texas next year.
It's the one place I don't want to place him, actually.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of two places.
I don't want to see him in Michigan, but I think he would succeed in Michigan. I think Michigan should go for it. I don't think Fickle takes it. I think Fickle at Illinois would be more interesting. I still think Illinois is a sleeping giant, but that's a different conversation for a different day. Mm-hmm. He still should have got Michigan State. I see him like maybe holding out a couple more years than going to Michigan State. That's still, I'm not letting go of that. It makes too much sense.
Yep. All right. Next up here, we got another Big Ten matchup here of Indiana, the undefeated Hoosiers of Indiana, 3-0, taking on Sparty. Noon game I don't see where it's at, but it's a noon game. Let me see if I
believe it's ABC. It's ABC.
It is on ABC there. Indiana is a 7.5 point favorite. I'll take Indiana here. I know Sparty is just a bad team.
Sparty's bad.
Hoosiers, good team.
Rutgers beat Michigan State by 11 points.
Mm-hmm.
Rutgers is a better team. Indiana's a better team than Rutgers. They beat Michigan. Indiana beat Michigan last week by 17 points. Despite the fact that I know Michigan State beat Michigan. I know that. But I still think Michigan's actually the better football team. I'm going to go Indiana. I think that Penix is looking really good. I think it's going to be insanely interesting to see Ohio State play Indiana a week from now.
Yep. All right. Jay says here.
I also want to point out Indiana is currently 3-0 against the spread.
Very, very interesting. Jay says here, shouldn't be close. Would probably take this at -20 for Indiana.
Yes, I agree. 20 would give me a little bit of heartburn. I would personally put this at about 17.
That's the exact number I was thinking, is like 17.5 right there.
Yeah.
All right. Next up here, Penn State taking on Nebraska. This is a noon game as well on Fox Sports 1. Penn State is a 3.5 point favorite. And from what I've seen with Nebraska, I had high hopes for them. I thought hey, they're actually not that bad of a team. But from what I saw last week, yeah, they're that bad of a team. I'll take Penn State here to cover.
Maybe I'm stupid. Maybe I'm stubborn. Maybe I don't know, but I refuse to believe that this Nittany Lion team is actually an 0-3 football team.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And Nebraska, I always saw as a team that, while trending upward, was in transition. And I just believe that Penn State is a much better football team, even if they haven't shown it yet.
Yeah. I mean, they played Indiana, which we knew now it's a good team.
We now know,
lost to them in overtime. And they lost to Ohio State, and Maryland was just on their A game there against Penn State last week.
Maryland cares about that game a lot more than Penn State does. Maryland is it's kind of like the Ohio State Penn State dynamic, where Penn State's like, you're our rival, and Ohio State's like, aren't you cute? It's the same thing, but opposite with Penn State and Maryland. Maryland's like, you're our rival, and Penn State's like, aren't you cute? Except that Maryland actually slapped them.
Yeah. Well, sad news out of Penn State, though.
Yeah.
One of their running backs, Journey Brown, is officially leaving football permanently due to a heart issue. I won't even try to pronounce it, but it's pretty much like the heart muscle is just thickening, and it will cause him a lot more harm if he continues to play.
Yeah. It's a terrible situation for Journey Brown. That's all I have to say, is that's a terrible situation for him.
Yeah. All right. Did you pick Penn State, or do you have Nebraska here?
I picked Penn State.
Okay.
I don't know if I ever actually said those words, so it's fine.
All right. Jay says here, as Jared has been saying, the 2.5 and 3.5 line is the game changer. I'll take the black shirts. I would expect to see more McCaffrey this week as a home dog versus the not so happy Valley Kittens, who I think has completely checked out on Franklin. So he's going with the Cornhuskers.
He's probably right. Just statistically speaking, he's more likely to be right than us. That being said, I have to ask you a question, Jay. Why on earth are you listening to me? What are you doing, man?
All right. Next up here, we have Notre Dame taking on Boston College. This is a 3:30 game on ABC. We have here Notre Dame is a 13.5-point favorite. Who do you have here, Jared?
I'm going Boston College. Dog, please quit shaking the desk. You're making the camera all oh, come on. Get out.
No, it's getting worse.
Get out from under. That's because I'm talking to her, so she's getting excited.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm going Boston College here strictly because I think that Notre Dame's riding real high off that loss. Probably a lot of expelled energy. They're probably going to come into this one a little bit flat. I think Boston College has the ability to make this game very interesting. Like, we'll be paying attention to this game at the end of this game, I'm pretty sure. Now, that's not to say that Boston College wins, but I think that they could. And I think that they'll end up losing by less than a score.
And
I think that that's well under the 13.5, so I'm going to go Boston College.
Yeah, and we've seen it too, where teams, they have a big win, and then next week they just kind of not necessarily fall apart, but they just don't take their next opponent as seriously, or maybe they're just still sore or still kind of hungover from the big victory. Yeah, I think this is going to be one of those games. And what we've seen with Notre Dame too earlier this year, like they had a 12-7 victory over Louisville. Their offense doesn't click. Maybe they fixed it since that game, but I don't know. I think they're going to fall asleep here, and I think that Boston College will definitely make it closer. So I'll pick Boston College here as well. Jay says here, I think Notre Dame wins a closer than the experts think type of game after the emotional win last week. The Golden Eagles will keep it close.
See, we're on the same page. They beat Duke pretty handedly. Texas State, 3-point game. North Carolina, 4-point game. Pittsburgh, overtime game, 1 point. Virginia Tech does blow out Boston College. Then they do blow out Georgia Tech. But then a 6-point game to Clemson, a 3-point game to Syracuse. The majority of their games
are close.
Are very close games. Boston College,
top 5 opponent.
Boston College is one of those teams.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this week will be the same. It'll be one of those games. Now, will they win by 6 or less points or win by 6 or less points? We'll find out. But I think this game finishes with the winner 6 or less points.
All right, let's do a quick ad read real quick here in the middle of our SlooPicks.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
All right, let's hear from our good friend over at the Iron Bean Coffee Company.
Sure thing. Iron Bean Coffee Company. Lots of cool flavors and variations of beans to choose from over at Iron Bean Coffee Company. I'm going to hold this guy up right here next to my head for scale. It's a big bag of coffee, am I right? This is the Unicorn. I haven't cracked this one open yet. I'm looking forward to it. I've been working my way, because I also bought a sampler. So this is one of the little sample bags. So I've been working my way through the sampler. That's why I haven't cracked open my Ride or Die or my Unicorn yet. But I don't know what's in this bag. It's an R&D test coffee. It's a completely random bag of coffee. I have no idea what's in it. We'll find out. It'll be exciting. Like I said, if you are the type of person who is maybe prone to a little bit of Netflix syndrome, where there's maybe just a little too much and you don't know what to do, you can get a sampler bag. Like I said, you get 6 of these little bags. And I think that's a great way to go if you're maybe just looking for which one of those is right for you. And of those, I'm sure you'll find the one that's right for you, and then you can keep buying it. In fact, if you are the type of person who likes to sort of stick with one coffee and go with it, they have a subscribe and, much like Amazon. If you've ever seen Amazon subscribe and save, Iron Bean Coffee has a similar service where you can subscribe to a bag of coffee and just get it a little bit cheaper and just have it basically a subscription service to a bag of coffee. If that's not the thing you want to do, like I said, there's a great selection. Some of the coffees are available in K-Cup, some of their more popular ones. And if you're looking to get a gift for a coffee lover in your life, but you're not sure which one of these coffees they want, again, sampler box, that's a great avenue. Or gift cards. Got a coffee snob in your life? Get them an Iron Bean gift card. Let them pick out their own coffee. I like a specific gift card for Christmas. You know, you don't want to just give someone an Amazon card because that kind of just says, I don't know what you want. But if you give someone like, oh, I know you love coffee. Here's an Iron Bean Coffee gift card. That goes a lot further, I promise you. Because if I know coffee snobs, and I do because I am one, they want to pick out their own coffee. That's just piece of advice, me to you. They want to pick out their own coffee. So you can find that. You can find a bunch more. Again, free shipping over $50. You're supporting an Ohio veteran-owned company. They're out of Toledo. And you can find all of that at ironbeancoffee.com. That's Iron Bean Coffee Company, America's local coffee roaster.
This episode of the SloopCast also brought to you by the Mad Canadian Barbecue Company. Mad Canadian has been a good friend of ours for the past year. And with great seasonings, how could you not
great
love
responsibility.
The guy? How could you not love the guy?
I love the guy.
Yes.
He's great. He's a great guy. We enjoy him a lot.
Other than the angry emails, he's great.
Other than that, and the fact that he cheats at the Ryan Day helmet sticker game. If you want to know what the hell I'm talking about, join our Discord, discord.thesloopcast.com.
What you got in your hand there? It looks like you want to really bring this forward here. The savory. Yeah. The savory. What do you put the savory on, Jared?
Really great. I think specifically shredded chicken, shredded pork, I think are any sort of, I think like really, and again, I think it goes on a lot of things, but my personal preference is a light meat. So even, I think it would even go good on, say, like a lamb. Why not? So, or maybe a pork chop. I think it'd go good on a pork chop. I think that would be my go-tos for the savory.
All right. What other one did you have in your hand?
No, that was it. I had the savory.
Oh, it looked like you had a different one there.
That was my beer. I won't.
That was your beer.
This is the Mad. I won't tell you what I'm drinking right now because this is Mad Canadian time.
Yes. I will go with let's do the old fashioned here. The old fashioned, just like the drink here, has a little bourbon in it.
A little cherry in it.
It's a really unique seasoning. So you want to spice up your meal there. Put a little old fashioned on it to give people a surprise taste.
Yeah, I think you could do like a really nice marinade for either maybe like a roast. I actually did this. Was it a flank steak, I believe I did this on. You could also, I think, do this for ribs. I think it would work really well. Did the old fashioned. I did a little bit of bourbon. The alcohol cooks off. So just so you guys know, you can use bourbon, because I do. You can use bourbon in a marinade because once you heat it up, the alcohol burns off. So you're not going to get anyone intoxicated.
Yes.
And some cherry juice. Some bourbon, and some old fashioned.
You make some great memories. Really surprise your friends with the seasoning here.
Yeah.
Be sure to check out those and all the other great seasonings that the Mad Canadian has over at the madcanadianbbq.com. That is the madcanadianbbq.com. Promo code SloopCast10 at checkout for 10% off. Mad Canadian Barbecue Company, where they have your butt covered.
All right, Kyle, where were we with the SlooPicks?
We are at the Wisconsin-Michigan game. Wisconsin heading on up to Ann Arbor, where Wisconsin is a 2.5 6-point favorite. This is a 7:30 game on ABC. So this is Kirk in the gang then.
Yes, sir.
I will tell you right now, even though we've only seen them for one game, I'll go with the Badgers.
Hell yeah.
From what I saw in one game versus what I've seen in 3 games of Michigan, yeah, I'll take my chances with Wisconsin here. And it's less than a field goal. Yeah, I'll take Wisconsin here. I'll take them.
It's not enough to scare me off. Again, as Kyle said, we've seen Wisconsin play one game, and it was against Wisconsin. It was against the Minnesota team that we all thought maybe a little too much of at the time, which does make Wisconsin, maybe our evaluation of Wisconsin, maybe look a little bit better than it should, because maybe we thought Minnesota was a better team than they were at the time. But all I need to tell you is this. I've seen Michigan's defensive backs play, and I've seen Graham Mertz play.
Yes, exactly.
I've only seen Graham Mertz play one game of college football, but he looked amazing. And I'm telling you, highly recruited guy, Ohio State wanted him. Part of the reason, I'm telling you this right now, part of the reason why Ohio State ends up going and getting Justin Fields, or maybe part of the reason why they don't end up getting Graham Mertz, I guess it depends upon how you choose to tell that story. Maybe I want to ask one of the recruiting guys over to Scoop and find out what the correct timeline there is because Ohio State didn't get Graham Mertz that they end up getting Justin Fields. Because he ends up going to Wisconsin, Ohio State goes to the transfer portal.
Yep.
Now, I don't think that those two things actually probably line up, because I think the Mertz thing happened a good while before. But, don't let the truth get in the way of a good story, Kyle.
Yes. All right. So I take it that you got,
I got Wisconsin.
You got Wisconsin.
I got Wisconsin big.
All right. Let's see what Jay says. Jay says, has hit the struggle bus hard these last few weeks. I don't know if they have checked out just like Penn State has or not. To me, this is either Wisconsin win and cover close, or rout as they rally behind Mr. Khakis and expose Wisconsin for their long layoff. I'll take the former and have Wisconsin with a cover and win by at least 7 points.
I think Wisconsin blows them out.
Mm-hmm. All right. Last game here, Jared. We have Northwestern and Purdue.
Oh, Kyle?
Hmm?
We need to do final score for Wisconsin and Michigan.
We do.
Yes. Well, we don't have to do final score, but we do have to do total score for the tiebreaker.
Mm-hmm. I have 52.
I have 55.
Close.
I have that at about a. I don't feel like doing math on the show. It's like a 4. I think it's like a 35 to, or probably like a 40, probably like a 40 to 14, 41 to 14 type situation.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Our last game here, Jared. We have Northwestern and Purdue, which I see that just a couple of hours ago that this game has been moved up from 7:30 to 5 o'clock.
Yes, sir. Help fill that Ohio State void.
Mm-hmm.
As it's on the Big Ten Network. The Ohio State game is supposed to be on the Big Ten Network, so.
Yep, might as well. All right. Let's see. We have here Northwestern is a 2.5 point favorite. So, who do you have here, Jared?
These are two teams I'm not really sure about.
One thing's for sure, Jared.
Yeah,
they're both undefeated.
They are both undefeated. That's technically true. Congratulations, Kyle.
Math checks out.
You know what, Kyle? The math checks out. It's just, I don't know. Northwestern, it's weird because I didn't think a lot of them coming into the season. And now I'm kind of forced to reevaluate that. Maryland, a team that we both are high on all of a sudden, they crushed Maryland in that first game. We keep saying Tua's looked great, except for that first game. Tua's looked great, except for that first game. Well, that first game was Northwestern. Was that a young guy getting his jitters out? Or was that Northwestern's defense being that good? I tend to lean towards the former rather than the latter. So I'm not 100% sure what to do with Northwestern. But I think when it comes down to it, I just don't think Purdue's all that good. I think is basically, I don't think Purdue is all that good. Again, we talk about one of the things we know for sure, that Illinois is bad. They looked fine against Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
And Northwestern, a team we don't know a lot about, but that looked really good against a Maryland team that Kyle and I were concerned about coming into this game before it got canceled. So based on that, I'm going to go with Northwestern, but I say that this is the game where I just sort of flip a coin.
Yeah, same here. It's tough. I picked Northwestern here. Their defense have just really kept them in games. Their offense not that good to really keep them consistent winning games. But I mean, they have been so far this year, but their defense definitely keeping them in games here. I just like Northwestern to win here, and 2.5 is pretty much a pick 'em to me. So I'll just take Northwestern.
Yeah. When it's under that 3, who cares?
Mm-hmm.
3.5, you have to pay a little bit more attention to. At 2.5, just pick a winner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just one of those where it's just really, yeah. All right. Let's see. Jay says here, they are a typical Northwestern team, and will keep Rondale and company in check. Peyton will keep it close to the vest and make enough plays to walk out of West Lafayette with a win and cover.
There you go.
I was just looking up Northwestern, and yeah, every game that they've won, well, it's only 3 games, but other than the Maryland game, they won by 1 against Iowa, and they won by 8 against Nebraska.
But they won against how many against Maryland?
40.
Yeah. Exactly.
And if we look at Iowa, which they played 1 less game, Iowa, why did I say Iowa? Purdue. Got the wrong team there. Purdue here, yeah, with their 1 game canceled, yeah, they've won by 4 to Iowa and 7 to Illinois. And we both know that Illinois is a pretty bad team.
Yes, sir.
All right, that is our SlooPicks for the week here.
All right, Kyle, let's do some Ask SloopCast, then let's GTFO.
All right. Let's go ahead and ask some questions.
Duncan from the Discord asks us, has a head coach ever lost? And I assume this means as a head coach. He does not specify, but that's my assumption. Has a head coach ever lost from both sides of a major college rivalry game? Ooh. I'll say that it's not too often that you have the same coach be the head coach on different sides of a major college football rivalry. My first thought, and I'd have to fact check this, would be Nick Saban, who coached both LSU and Alabama. I can't tell you off the top of my head. This is one of those questions. I don't look at these questions ahead of time. I never look at the questions ahead of time. This is one of those ones where I wish I had, because this one would require actual research. But if I were to venture a guess, my guess would be Nick Saban, LSU, Alabama. But I that's a guess. I don't know.
It's a good question. Yeah,
listeners, Twitter, YouTube comments, the Discord, however you choose to email, Twitter. I think I already said Twitter. However you choose to reach out to us, let us know. Do you know the answer to this question? I ventured my guess. It's only a guess.
Yeah, that's really curious. I am definitely really curious about that.
All right, next up, another Duncan from the Discord. Describe the relationship between the NCAA and Division I football. NCAA does what it's told, and Division I football, and by Division I football, I mean Division 1A football. Mm-hmm. Or excuse me, Kyle, the FBS, because we can't say that Division A is better than AA. The FBS does what it wants. Again, this is the only NCAA sport who does its postseason completely outside of the overview of the NCAA. The NCAA divides licensing money. The NCAA acts as a police officer about eligibility and stuff like that. But if COVID in 2020 has taught us anything, it's that the NCAA does nothing. This was the NCAA's opportunity to be a leader and to help provide some consistency and some leadership. And they basically put their hands in their pockets and let the conferences do whatever the hell they wanted. So what's the NCAA? It's a joke. That's what it is. That and they organize a basketball tournament. That's what the NCAA does. It sits around, it acts as a joke, and it organizes a basketball tournament.
Mm-hmm. All right. Next question
I hate
here.
The NCAA. I think he was triggering me on purpose.
Yeah. Next question here.
Let's see. Mad Canadian asks, would you consider going from a head coach at Bgsu to a running back coach at USC a step up? No. That's your Division I single A head coach. Mm-hmm. That's way better than a division, unless you're like Brian Hartline, and you're on the record stating that you're at Ohio State no matter what. That's his role in life. He's going to be at Ohio State. Now, if I were Brian Hartline and BGSU says want to be the head coach, we're moving. Yeah, but so even Brian Hartline, and again, I don't think he would. But if I were him, I would. Position coach, even the best university isn't as good as the head coach at a place like Bowling Green. Agree, disagree, Kyle?
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a former Ohio State coach who was a head coach at Bowling Green.
Once upon a time ago.
Yeah, I agree. I'd go.
And he was a wide receiver coach at Notre Dame prior. So that's what Urban Meyer, in case you don't know what Kyle's talking about, that's what Urban Meyer did. He went from position coach, and then we're talking about a point in time in which Notre Dame was actually like under Lou Holtz and head coach is a step up over a running back coach at any other program. Within, I would say, all of FBS 1.
Yes.
Or within all of FBS and even within all of Division 1 even, at least even into the AA's.
Yep. All right. Let's see. Suncard asks, describe the relationship between earthquakes and weather.
They aren't the same thing. Next.
Duncan asks another question. The Buckeyes make the playoffs in the permit 25% stadium capacity. What's the get-in price for tickets?
Trick question. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Pfizer announces a vaccine. That's great. It's great news. The science behind it is all great. But that vaccine's not going to be available for like another 4 months. No. And even if it's available in 4 months, I don't think it's going to be like the flu shot where you can just walk into Kroger and get one.
Nope, it's going to go to frontline folks and high risk people first.
Yeah. So I don't foresee trick question. There's not going to be any general access to an Ohio State game this year.
Yep.
I just don't see it happening.
How
Parents,
do I approach my wife about borrowing from our 401k to buy football tickets? Oh, your wife doesn't have to worry.
yeah. Again, trick question. It's not going to happen.
All right. Brawley asks, cases are rising, games are falling. Is the season in danger? It has been. It has been from the start.
I think it depends on what you mean by the season. I think one way or another, there's going to be a college football championship game. I think that happens. I don't know if all of the teams that we want to be eligible for that are eligible for that. I don't know if we're happy with how it goes down. Is the season in danger? Is Ohio State's season in danger? Yeah. It is. I'm not going to lie to you guys. It absolutely is.
It kind of goes into the next question here too. What is the over/under percentage that chance that the Michigan game happens? That the game happens?
50-50. Nah, I don't want to say 50-50, but it's higher than 50-50.
51-49.
No, I'm feeling very I'm feeling very doom and gloomy right now because I just, again, all the DeWine's press conference was also in our relative recent history. It's been 2 days for you guys. We just got done with it. I'm feeling real doom and gloomy right now.
I'm thinking 60-40.
No, I think I think it's realistically much better than that.
Okay.
I think it's like 90-10.
Ooh.
I'm just because of the Maryland game, because of the press conference. I'm feeling real doom and gloomy right now. If I actually walked away from this podcast saying 50-50, I'd be regretting it tomorrow when I when I did the edit.
As teams begin to lose hope at anything of a season, think Illinois, do players begin to relax and put other teams at risk?
Yes. I think that's happening with LSU right now.
Yes, absolutely. The college football playoff has to be moved back, right?
Yes.
We hope.
Yes. It barely qualifies as an Ask SloopCast question. That's just you making a comment and putting a question mark at the end of it, Brawley.
I like this last question. What's your favorite YouTube rabbit hole that you have gone down?
Racing marbles.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Let's see. YouTube commentary channels are a favorite of mine.
I'm going a little nerdy.
Oh no, not you, Kyle.
Never. There are times when I get nostalgic with old games. So sometimes maybe doing looking at either if I'm more of when I just listen to music, there's some great remixes or making games 8-bit style. That's always entertaining. Or even speedrunning. Watching speedruns are actually interests me.
Yeah, anything I'm all in on this Among Us craze, both on YouTube and on Twitch. I'm all about it. So that's been a thing I've been all about recently. Yeah,
it's entertaining and watch friendships fall apart. All right, last question here. Austin Formation asks.
This is not our last question, but I think you missed one. I missed the whole picture, but go ahead.
Oh, I did. Yes. Austin Formation. How does not playing the Maryland game affect the Indiana game going forward, as that is the biggest game of the season? ?
Biggest game of the season is always Michigan, first and foremost. But I get what you're saying, and you're also right.
How does not playing affect? Well, you can look at it two ways. One, it gives Ohio State more days to prepare for Indiana.
Yeah.
Secondly, you could look at it negatively, be like, well, the changes that Ohio State would have implemented against Maryland, did that work or not?
Yeah.
If it didn't, all right, let's fix it some more there. So you can look at it either way there.
Yeah, Kyle nails this. Maryland could have been used as a prep game for Indiana, I think it's fair to say Indiana is actually just Maryland, but better. I think that's who Indiana is. I think Indiana is who Maryland wants to be. So you could have used that as a prep game to get better for Indiana, but at the same time, he's just more time to prep for Indiana. Yeah, Kyle nailed that. I don't know why I just felt the need to repeat what he's just said.
All right. Let's see here. What question have we missed here, Jared?
Let's see. We have from Cooper.
Yep. Cooper here. How can Wisconsin play the same number of players being out after canceling 2 games?
Well, he's basically saying that if you're out for 21 days, how does 21 days equal 2 games? And I'm going to say, shut up and watch football.
Yeah, that's actually really...
Football's happening. Don't bring math into this.
That's actually a really good point. I don't want to think about it. Let's move on. Let's see here. Sun Card. What is your favorite movie and why is it Step Brothers?
I feel like we're in an area right now with movies that like true singular focused comedies are kind of dying. Now maybe the streaming services are going to help bring those back, but we weren't seeing a lot of like straight up comedies anymore. And I kind of think Step Brothers may be like not the last, but among the last of like must see epic big comedies. Mm-hmm. Again, I think maybe the streaming services are going to help right this and that this trend of, because people just weren't going to go see like straight up comedies in movie theaters.
Yeah.
So it was kind of killing comedies. Again, now that Hulu, Amazon, Netflix are paying big money for movies, maybe that rights itself a bit. So hopefully, like I said, that rights itself a bit, because I think what you see now are like hybrid movies that are funny. Take like Thor Ragnarok, for example. Was one of the funniest movies of the year, despite the fact it was also a Thor movie. It was also just hilarious.
Mm-hmm. Some of my favorites, though, Lord of the Ring trilogy. That's always a really good one.
I mean, I was sticking to comedies personally. I when he says Step Brothers is...
Gotcha. Well...
okay. Please just answer the question. I'm
just answering the question. I always like Shawshank is another really good movie. A favorite of mine, too.
Yeah. Really going out on some limbs here, Kyle.
Yeah. Or if I want to go nostalgia here, even though looking back, it's not a good movie. The original TMT movie.
Oh, why'd you got to say it wasn't a good movie?
Well, it really isn't looking back now, but I still enjoy it.
Our movie poster, which we released, our game poster, which is based on a movie, was for TMNT too. So yeah, it's that was the inspiration for this week's game poster for a game that's now not happening. I'm kind of thankful I released the poster before the game got canceled, because then I would have to ask, oh no, do I release it? Do I not release it? I still don't know what I'm going to do with my Purdue poster. I made one. And then I've just sort of been keeping it in my pocket because, well, what if they meet each other in the Big Ten championship game? I don't think that's going to happen. So, yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with the Purdue poster. I might just release it at the end of the year. And
that's all the questions.
That's all the questions. Now, Kyle, we are actually going to probably finish this episode in under an hour 10, which is pretty good for us as of lately. Mm-hmm. We only had to get an Ohio State game canceled to accomplish that task.
All right.
So I'm going to go ahead and go into my spiel. We have a bunch of great people joining our Discord server who aren't exclusively patrons. We have opened up our Discord server for general access. There are now premium channels that are just for the patrons and public channels that are open to everybody. And you can go to discord.thesloopcast.com to access the server. If you're unfamiliar with Discord, It's somewhere in between a message board and a group chat, I think is my one-line explanation of what Discord is. So it's an Ohio State-centric group chat with SloopCast fans, is essentially what it is. We're doing a bunch of cool stuff with it. We now have a game in which Ryan Daybot, who is a robot named after Ryan Day, gives you helmet stickers. Or maybe he takes them away. You're never quite sure. So we've all been having a little too much fun with that in the Discord. That's been our big happenings lately. And the Discord channel is the Ryan Day bot. So yeah, you can find all of that at discord.thesloopcast.com. And you can find all of our other stuff, including our t-shirt stores. I'm wearing 7071 merch right now. This is the Dayton Force. It's a Dayton sports team that only exists inside of my head. So in case you want to be a Dayton Force fan, join a very, very, very small fan base. You can check out 7071.thesloopcast.com. You can find the SloopCast merch, including that poster and this blanket and a bunch of other cool stuff at merch.thesloopcast.com. And if you haven't been able to write down all of these links and you don't remember what the promo code is for the Mad Canadian or the website is for Iron Bean Coffee Company, you can find all of those links, including the Discord link, including a Spotify link, including a YouTube link, including a Stitcher, no, probably not the Stitcher link, but including an Apple Podcast link. I'm just reading my graphic now. All of those links, you can find them at thesloopcast.com. All it is a site that gives you links. That's all that is. So you can find all of that and more, thesloopcast.com. Kyle, that's my entire thing. Do you have anything in Kyle's Corner for this week?
Couple of things. Well, one, again, best of luck to my hometown, Columbus Grove. They get to play in state semifinals against Coldwater in Division 6 football. Looking forward to that. I think they play like at 7:00 on Saturdays. So best of luck to them Bulldogs.
Who they playing?
Coldwater.
How's that going to go?
Coldwater is really tough.
Yeah. I don't know.
Very tough.
I don't know. I don't follow college or high school football, especially Division 6, all that closely. But I know that if it's a Division 6 team and I've heard of them, that's probably bad news for whoever's playing them.
Yeah. Just kind of like Marion Local is always a small school, but they've always known to be really good and always go far in the playoffs too. So
yeah. I
mean, anything can happen, but wish the Dogs best of luck on Saturday.
Yeah. I know my former high school, the St. Clairsville Red Devils, fell last week. So yeah, it's not easy out there for a high school team. A lot of these kids had really, really shortened schedules this year because the regular season was practically non-existent. And then if you didn't make it far in the playoffs, you didn't really get to, and that all sucked. And so I'm happy for the teams that have gotten some semblance of a real season by getting to go far in the playoffs. And even if you don't, like I said, even if Columbus Grove does not make it past this week, they at least got some semblance of a full season, which I think in 2020 is a thing to be thankful for.
And one interesting thing about this is that a lot of these seniors here were on the basketball team for last spring, and they were undefeated going into the early playoffs, and the season got cut off right then and there. So they had a lot to play for this year to kind of make up for that.
How are we looking on winter sports in high school? Is that a thing that's still up in the air?
I don't know. I haven't really looked, to be honest. I'm just worried about here and now.
Yeah,
right now,
that's fair. That's another great thing. If you guys want to, if anyone out there knows a little bit more about the high school sports situation in Ohio, YouTube comments, Twitter, Discord are great places to reach out to us.
Yeah. One last thing, not this Saturday, but the following Saturday, the 21st, your Columbus Crew taking on the Red Balls in the first round of the MLS playoffs.
I'm not going to lie. It sounded like you said balls.
Red Bulls. Bowls.
Okay.
All right.
But
that's all I got here.
All right. Tonight's ending music will be brought to you by a Columbus-based band called Snarls. You can find links to all of their stuff down in the doobly-doo. There'll be a song and a Bandcamp link and the name of the song and a YouTube link and all that stuff down in the doobly-doos. And for all of the other links that you might want to find, including the merch, including the Discord, including the Patreon, including the YouTube channel, including Spotify, Apple, all that crap, just go to thesloopcast.com. So with all of that being said, I'd like to encourage everyone to drink local beer, listen to the local music, and of course, support your local podcasters. Once again, this is Snarls. All right, so quick shout out to the application called Ear Trumpet, which prevented everyone who's currently listening to this from hearing the constant Discord alerts that are currently hitting my computer.
Yes, I hear it on my iPad. I'm like, oh, I got to move that away from the microphone. Yes.
I love that everyone loves the Ryan Day sticker game. But my God, the alerts are just constantly popping off on my computer.
Hey, at least we have action football.
We do. We have action. We watched Ohio play last night. We have some games on
tonight as we're recording.
Yeah, which never mind. Don't give me an update. We need to end the show.
Yes.
All right. I'll start this one. We are about to rejoin our audio listeners. Once again thank Snarls for ending today's episode, and I'd like to once again thank the Iron Bean Coffee Company for sponsoring today's episode. Kyle, they have an amazing selection of coffees. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Fear No Evil. This is a black coffee. It's not a dark coffee. It is a black coffee. It is dark beyond dark. It's roasted to the brink of flames. This rich black dark roast is void of all light. The sheen is of polished armor, and the feel is like cocoa butter. If you like dark coffees, they also have the Integrity. The Integrity is the flagship coffee over at the Iron Bean Coffee Company. It is dark roasted, makes a great espresso. Yes, I said it. I'm always nervous I'm going to say that wrong. And if you like dark coffees, you can also check out the Odin. Coffee will keep you fighting long after you should have gone to Valhalla. There's also the Fierce. That's another dark roast. They have lots of medium roasts too. I'm just reading the dark roast because that's what I'm doing for this particular ad read. Check out ironbeancoffee.com. The Fierce is a dark roast coffee made 100% Arabica beans to give you the edge and confidence to slay the day. Again, lots of great coffees. They have a sampler pack you can buy. Free shipping over $50. Gift cards are available. All of this coffee is fair trade certified. You don't have to worry about the morality of where your coffee beans come from. They're USDA organic, and they're based out of Toledo, Ohio. And oh, by the way, they are veteran owned, and the beans are not roasted until you order them. Again, we're recording this on Veterans Day. Support a veteran owned company this Veterans Day week, and you can do that at the Iron Bean Coffee Company. That's ironbeancoffee.com, America's local coffee roaster.
This episode of the SloopCast also brought to you by the Mad Canadian Barbecue Company. Mad Canadian Barbecue Company.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where are you going, Kyle?
It did not work. I was open for a reaction.
I don't know. Okay, just do the ad read.
So I'm just going to go off of what the Mad Canadian has here off of his website. Let's do an odd product that we normally don't talk about. What goes well on for vegetable rubs?
Ooh, vegetable
rubs. Well, the first one here that he has on his site here, the Mad Hatter. The Mad Hatter would be a great vegetable rub. It's salty. It has a citrus pepper blend, a great salt kick in it. It could be great as a finishing salt or to a rim of of your Bloody Mary glass. Another one, the Ope. The Ope, it's an Ohio seasoning. It's got ranch in it. It's very Midwesterny. It's perfect for Ohio.
It's smoked ranch. I don't know what other explanation you need other than the fact that it's smoked ranch.
Yes. And another one here, let's go with the savory.
By the way, I have a feeling you could probably take that Ope and just pour some of it into like just some sour cream. Boom, instant chip dip.
Yep. The last one here, the savory here, he has here is the exact seasoning we put on our pulled pork here at the Mad Canadian Barbecue. It's a salty, savory mix that is sure to be a favorite at your next barbecue. He has some more listed there, but those are a few of the great products if you want to put some of this Mad Canadian seasoning on your vegetables. Be sure to check out these and much, much more over at the madcanadianbbq.com. Promo code SloopCast10. That's SloopCast10 at checkout for 10% off your entire order. Mad Canadian Barbecue Company, where they have your butt covered.
What's up, YouTube? My face, playlist for season 6. Kyle's face, subscribe. You can subscribe to either the Buckeye Scoop or to our YouTube channel, depending upon where you're watching this. That link is currently on Kyle's face. Subscribe to both channels, please. But listen wherever you want. So again, my face, playlist, his face, subscribe. Peace.